there's a handful of teams that we felt like had some level of expectations this year. Maybe a sleeper team that could do something kind of special. They could show that big next step. But it feels like some of those sleeper teams have slept in. Some of them might have hit the snooze button one too many times. The greatest fear for two people that work on morning shows, right? Like you never hit the snooze button twice, right? So it feels like some of these teams may have done that. So let's take a look at some of them and figure out sleeper or just asleep. And we'll start with the Mavs because the Mavs are a team. Certainly the minute they drafted Cooper Flagg, it was, oh, no. Like everything we're doing, like there's no step back. In fact, remember the drafting of Cooper Flagg suddenly made Luka irrelevant to so many fans that wanted to come out and say, oh, no, this was all in the works. We don't need Luka. We got Cooper. And so far the Mavs look like they desperately need Luka, and having Cooper hasn't been that much of a spark plug. Like, do you think they wake up anytime soon?
No, I think they wake up at some point in this season. And if you thought that Cooper Flagg as a rookie, Cooper Flagg's 18 years old, maybe 19, if I'm giving him, a couple more months to his age. If you thought that Cooper Flagg at that age and at this stage in his career could step in and pick up the slack that was lost when you traded away Luka Doncic, I think that you were wrong. And maybe you're just, smoking a little bit too much hopium there. I mean, we knew there was going to be, or at least we should have expected at least a little bit of a ramping up period for Cooper Flagg. It's a big jump to go from Duke to the NBA. So whenever Anthony Davis is banged up and Kyrie is banged up and you're asking Cooper Flagg to carry a brunt of the load, then no, things aren't going to look all peachy. So I do think that these pieces click, and I think that Cooper Flagg has all of the talent in the world. So once he gets acclimated to this level of the game, the Mavs will get better at some point this season. But to ask Cooper Flagg right now to be the version of Luka Doncic that the Mavs traded away in October of his rookie year, I think is just asking for a little bit too much. They'll get there, not right now.
Yeah, which is why the concept of a player is something we always trade against the reality of a player. And so, the concept of what Cooper Flagg could be versus the reality of what Luka already was. And you're 1,000% right. Now, it's complicated this year because you're right. Cooper Flagg is 18, turns 19 in December. But we're also watching VJ Edgecombe go out as the number 3 overall pick and just simply dominate. It is hard not to. We do this in the NFL all the time, right or wrong, different situations, different offenses, different everything. We do this all the time. We are going to endlessly compare the top 3 quarterbacks drafted in the same draft that was Caleb and Jaden and Drake. Like, we're going to do that. We are now in a situation where Cooper is going to get some, I think, rightful questions. It has nothing to do with Cooper. It just has to do with somebody else in that same draft class coming in and having an immediate impact. I'm with you. I think the Mavs probably wake up, but I'm not surprised by anything. Like, this is what we always talk about in the offseason. How much benefit of the doubt are you willing to give somebody? I think Mavs fans and many people around the NBA that wanted the Mavs to be great were giving the benefit of the doubt that Cooper would come in and immediately be a superstar, combined with the benefit of the doubt of AD will be wildly healthy, combined with the benefit of the doubt that all of them will work together quickly. Those things are all falling apart at once. So it's early in the season. I do think they wake up, but I don't think that they wake up in time to actually be a meaningful, deep, impactful team by the end of this season. So the question then becomes the fire Nico chants. Like we always hear that.
Mm-hmm.
At what point does that become just thunderously loud? At what point does everybody have to listen to those fire Nico chants?
Is it not already thunderously loud?
No, that's fair.
It's been really loud, but it only gets worse the better and better Luka looks in Los Angeles, and that's the way he physically looks in his new physique, and also the way he looks on the court versus Cooper Flagg. Those two will be tied together, I think, for the rest of their careers, for the entirety of their careers, and I think that's fair for Mavs fans and for us to compare those two because you essentially traded Luka Doncic away for Cooper Flagg. So if Luka ends up being the missing piece that the Lakers needed all along and they win a championship and the Mavs don't even make the postseason, that's when things really start to get much, much, much louder. I think we also have to consider Anthony Davis in all of this as well. It wasn't that long ago that we saw a picture of Anthony Davis looking a little puffy at practice. What was the issue with Luka? What was the justification for trading Luka away? He didn't want to take care of his body. He wasn't in good basketball shape. So you swap Luka for Anthony Davis. Luka is slim and trim and is the best shape of his career versus Anthony Davis. that, add a little LBs onto him. So I don't think the Fire and Nico chants are going anywhere, especially if the Lakers continue on this trajectory.
I think we'll probably find out someday that Nico was just doing what ownership wanted for a myriad of reasons. So while fans are frustrated, I wonder what it will actually take for the Adelsons to do something about it. Let's go to some other sleeper teams, okay? A couple of other. I'll start with the Pelicans. Like, I'm so tired. I'm tired, Caroline. I'm tired of always talking about what Zion and the Pelicans are going to do and then always acting like we're surprised. The Zion particularly, and what was expected of the dominance of Zion. Like, I was at the shoe blowout game at the time, Duke, North Carolina. I was at that game. And just the phenomenon of Zion and everybody saying, oh, my God, I can't believe where this is going to go. And ever since he got into the league, it's, oh, my God, I can't believe what Zion's going to do. Now Zion's in the best shape of his life. Okay. I'm not going to call anything that Zion's involved with the sleeper team or an awake team, any of those things, until he actually proves some level of dominance that lives up to the hype we've given. I'm out on the Pels being a sleeper team this year.
It is wild how we've gone from Zion Center in 2019 to now, like, do we have to talk about Zion? Now, I will quote, I think, one of the greatest cinematic films ever created, Cinderella Story. When Hilary Duff says, waiting for you is like waiting for rain in this drought, useless and disappointing. That's how I feel about Zion Williamson. That's how I feel about this Pelicans team, waiting for you to finally do anything that matters, waiting for you to finally come to fruition. What we've been waiting for you to do for the last 5 to 6 years at this point feels so useless and has been so disappointing. Because if Zion hasn't done it by now, if this Pels team hasn't done it by now, when are they going to? At what point are we all just as a basketball society going to cut our losses and say Zion Williamson isn't who we thought he was going to be for whatever reason, whether it's injury, whether he's in shape and he's not in shape, he's in the best shape of his life, all of this. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I'll believe in this Pelicans team when they give me a reason to believe in them. But for right now, it's same stuff, different day.
I couldn't agree more. It's well said by you. I want to give you one more team that maybe I fell in love with, and this is on me. It's on me. I was listening to all my preseason podcasts. I was getting ready for the year, and I talked myself into this. I talked myself in to the Orlando Magic being this like sneaky, like nobody's talking about Orlando. Like Orlando's going to do big things. They got a lot of young players that everybody loves. Their offense explosive. Now they won last night. I'll give them that. They won last night. So does that mean that suddenly that they are the sleeper team, or does that mean they're still asleep? Because to me, expectations matter. And when you've got a young team and it just feels like everything early in the season is out of sync, that bothers me. It doesn't bother me as much when it's a bunch of vets on a team. You just think, okay, they're going to pull this thing together. What we've seen so far from the Magic has been somewhere between disjointed and disinterested, and I can't figure it out. So, yes, they got the win last night, but I'm wildly unimpressed with Orlando so far.
Yeah, I mean, like breaking a 4-game losing streak is great and all, but how much credit am I going to give you when you beat the Charlotte Hornets? No disrespect to the Charlotte Hornets or Doug Branson, our producer, diehard Charlotte Hornets fan.
Small disrespect,
but just like a little bit. But like, isn't that fair?
Teeny.
I think that this Hornets team can't, like, they've looked early on like they could be, they could have the offensive fireworks, but I don't expect the Charlotte Hornets to go the distance or to be one of those teams that we're talking about as a potential sleeper this season. So I'm with you. It does feel like this Orlando Magic team, I don't know if I want to say asleep, because I don't think that's fair, because they are a fairly young team. I don't want to say they're asleep. I think they're maybe, in a growth period. I think they're at this point taking a couple steps backwards in order to take leaps and bounds forward. I know we expected to see the return on those investments maybe earlier on in this season, but it's Halloween. I do think that the Magic can figure this out, because while they are young, they are an incredibly talented and incredibly deep team. So I'll say for right now, they're just, they're figuring it out. They're just figuring things out.
I think, for me, it frustrates me when I can't pinpoint the one thing that you're saying, okay, oh my God, you absolutely have to get this thing fixed, right? And so when you look at what they did this offseason, like the Desmond Bane signing was a big signing for Orlando and expected that it was going to take them to another level. And Desmond Bane's he's been good. He's been fine. He's been fine. Like Banchero is somebody that's like, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Like, I can't pinpoint the thing that isn't working for them other than the fact, But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, some of the teams that they played, like I'll excuse a loss to the Bulls because the Bulls so far sneaky. By the way, talk about Bulls aren't a sleeper team. The Bulls are just undefeated and nobody's talking about them. But look at the amount of points this team gives up every night. Like I know defense is optional in the NBA right now, Caroline, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned maybe because I had higher hopes. So it's not that I'm sad. I'm just disappointed.